Welcome. We're doing a little webinar today for the Roofing Brand Builder Bootcamp here with Roofr. Myself, Mike Stearns with Ascend Digital Agency. We're actually taking over the webinar. So thanks for joining. I got my guy, Manager John, with me.
What up, what up, what up?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about some things today. If you've got questions along the way, just drop them in the comment section. Ask anything. But John's going to interview me. He's got some questions he's been dying to ask me. And I've been dying to answer them, quite honestly. Can't wait. So, yeah, John, why don't you first tell them about the event, where it is, when they can show up, if there's any specials or promotions as a result of them being so generous with their time today as to join us, and then we'll dive into the questions.
Listen, this event this October is going to be unlike any other event that you've been to before. It's solely dedicated for you to dive in and have all the questions that you ever had about your marketing and content and how to fully maximize those at the height of your season, right? Like this is the height of the season right now. These are the things that you need to be maximizing in. You're not going to want to miss this. This is going to be something that you're going to get an immense amount of value for dirt cheap. And then on top of that, in the chat here, we have Roofr thanks. If you go to the website and you register today, we're going to give you 45% discount off of your ticket purchase. So we're practically giving away all this information for free on top of what we're talking about right now. Coming from owning a contracting business to working on both the marketing end and the front lines, what I will say is this information that we're going over has been utilized, not just talked about, but utilized on the back end from marketing agencies, as well as we've utilized it within different businesses, contracting businesses, going in, doing deep dives, implementing strategies that have generated actual revenue driving activities, right? And applied straight to the botm line.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's an important distinction too, right? There's no shortage of people out there saying, oh my God, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this because they saw a Hormozy video. And don't get me wrong, Alex Hormozy, that's my guy. But, you know, the things that I'm going to be teaching specifically at the event and some of the stuff we're going to talk about today are things that I can't say it will eliminate, but it will strongly decrease the likelihood that you find yourself in a precarious situation with a marketing agency through information and information that's been battle tested, right? You know, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of contractors over the last decade, and that's the reason I wanted to put this show on, right? And partner with Roofr is let's give people an immense amount of value, things that are actually implementable and that will actually help them. So let that man cook. Go ahead, John.
That being said, get into the comments, get into the chat section here, because we're going to be answering your questions live here, as well as giving away free game to you nonstop. But we want you to actually drop some questions into the chat as what you wanted to receive by coming to this webinar right now. Drop into the chat what your issues are that you're dealing with. What things can you implement directly right now at the height of your season, as well as drop your website, because Mike's going to be doing live audits on this.
He is? Yeah.
Mike's going to be doing live audits here to show you if you already have a website, the things that you can improve, because you can constantly improve your business. And we're giving away free game. That being said, I want to talk about the freest game of them all. If you are working with a marketing agency, Mike, I need to know as a contractor, what is the number one question that I should be asking an agency before I go to hire them? I'm super busy. I don't have time to vet these people. People are constantly telling me, oh, hey, I can guarantee you, 15 extra leads per week while I'm already at max capacity.
Can you handle 20 to 30 more roofs?
Handle 20 to 30 more roofs. And it's so exhausting to constantly see messages like that. So if you are about to work with a marketing agency, what is the number one question that
you're going to pigeonhole me to one? I mean, here's the thing. There's a lot more than one. And like, that's going to be one segment of the boot camp that we're doing is a segment that's geared totally around like what are an exhaustive list of questions you need to ask and why it's important. But if you're interviewing a marketing agency and you want them here. It's very easy to get in touch with a contractor and tell them all the great things you're going to do, show a couple case studies and be like, wow, this company's great. I'm definitely going to work with them. Ask them to speak to somebody who they've done business with that they no longer do business with. Get the perspective of a former client, right? Just because here's the thing, just because they're a former client doesn't mean that the relationship ended poorly. A lot of the times though, with marketing agencies, it does. So if you can get social proof, you can look at Google reviews, you can get case studies from that marketing agency, and they can have you facilitate a conversation with somebody who's left them and they can share a favorable experience. That's probably a really good indication that it's going to be a decent company to work with.
Hmm.
We got, they took advantage of it. We got like 5-6 different websites dropped.
Yeah, keep them coming. Keep them coming, guys.
Okay.
If you haven't dropped your website yet, get it in here now, because we're going to be answering. We're going to be inspecting them top down.
And here's the thing: if we don't have enough time to get through all of them, I will send you a video where I will follow up with you directly and make sure that you get the audit. So,
Christine, I see that you're saying that you're just getting started here. Go ahead and drop some of the questions that you have specifically of what you're looking for. What are you trying to walk away with today? Guys, do not hesitate. This is free game. And you're going to leave this hour-long webinar better than when you came in if you choose to utilize it.
Let's get it.
But only the most elite people will utilize it. So get into the chat, start asking questions. Let's get it.
What else you got?
What is like a common issue that you see with contractors when they are working with a marketing agency that like prevent them from getting like the maximum results, right? So like a lot of times when you're starting this relationship, you want to see results kind of quickly, because like you're making quick decisions and you're making big decisions, right? So what are some of the hurdles that, or the issues that hurt a contractor from getting the maximum amount of benefits out of their?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say, in my experience, it boils down to communication or lack thereof. And here's the thing, guys, whether you have an internal marketing team or you have an external marketing agency that's tasked with positioning your brand and your company in front of people that you want to buy shit from you, right? There needs to be communication, and that communication needs to be frequent, right? So if I'm running Google ads for you and you're getting a bunch of leads, you should still communicate with us. Most oftentimes what happens is we have residual meetings set, things are going well, somebody doesn't show up to a meeting. Like, and I understand that. However, even if things are going well, they can be going better, right? So if we're operating off key performance indicators, cost per click, cost per acquired lead. If we could talk to you about the cost per booked appointment and what the quality of leads were, that tells the whole story, not just a piece of it. And that's really, really crucial. But let's say it's an internal, let's say you have a marketing manager, right? And they've got a team under them. Having communication with that marketing manager. All too often, everyone thinks a marketing manager is going to solve everything within their company.
Yeah, internal superhero.
And it is entirely misguided. And a lot of the time, it's not the marketing manager's fault. It's not like they're inept or they can't do their job. It's just they don't have like structure and guidance. They're not being held accountable as far as like what the expectation is from the owner or from whoever's responsible that they report to understand what their job should look like, right? So if you have a marketing manager that's just pulling up to a meeting aimlessly and it's like, okay, tell me what you guys have done for us this month. Okay, fantastic. It's a misappropriation of revenue for the company into that position, and probably a misappropriation of their talent, right? Like a lot of these folks are very, very good. It's just, you got to give them a little more guidance.
A lot of times I've felt just working and consulting with different companies and coaching, I'll actually be talking with the marketing managers, and they're like, yeah, I haven't been able to get a hold of so and so ever since. And it's like, how well are you tapped in, like with your team members? Are you doing? My favorite thing is to do one weekly deep level, like hour-long meeting to set the expectations of what we're trying to accomplish in milestones, and then to do 5-minute meetings a day. Like, hey, what are your tasks today that you're working on? And that's solely so that they can regurgitate the information to you of like, hey, this is what I'm working today. I'm going to hit my SEO team. I'm going to make sure that I have the social posts planned, and I am going to make sure that I get X amount of Z on a shot list for the content that I'm about to shoot to give them. Right.
Yeah.
And then that's like the 5-minute meeting. You know, you're not looking to go into depth, but you know, if you can answer any quick questions, keep it to that 5-minute meeting per day.
Yep.
And I feel like that was a surefire way for me that I stayed in touch with a lot of my team members on a consistent basis, accountability basis.
And that makes a lot of sense. And
As well.
there's not one right or wrong answer. A lot of like this and life is figuring out like what works for you. Some people want to go and they want to hit the sauna for 10 minutes, work out for 60 minutes, then do a cold plunge after. If that works for you, fucking fantastic. Some people just want to hop right into their sets, get 45 minutes, get in and out. It's the same thing with like how you're managing employees, different personalities within the company. Like find out what works for you, test how you can make things better. And then when you find things that, you know, work better, move forward with those and keep optimizing.
Identify those. Yeah. Identify the things that are working. Because it's almost important to identify that so that you can keep it consistent.
Yep.
Versus just like, okay, that was good. Just
well, if you know all the variables in the equation, then you start changing the variables. You understand changing this variable led to this outcome, right?
Yeah. So do more of that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there is no question. So I did research with my partners at Alpha One. And when we were looking up the top revenue drivers for lead generation, even through just the, you know, Google search and like looking through different blog articles and stuff like that, what I discovered was that referrals were the top converted. It was Google pay-per-click, SEO, and then it went into a lot of the social content. But looking at that very top one, that top converting, right, referral, I think it's essential to really identify the things that make a good referral relationship successful. I mean, I based my studio builds this year off of that structure of like knowing that referrals were the biggest, right?
Yep.
So knowing that, how do contractors lean more into the best way to build a referral relationship and to continue referrals? Because it is the top converting revenue driver. And I'm a firm believer that relationships drive opportunity.
Sure.
So what is your experience in that?
You got to fucking ask, right? Like,
yeah.
So I think there's an important distinction, right? So you have your customer referrals, your customers that you've done a great job for, and they're going to go out and be brand ambassadors. And there's ways you can influence how frequently that happens or doesn't happen. And then like partnerships, right? So whether it's property management companies, real estate agents, insurance agents, I would say vertically adjacent contractors. So like an HVAC company, if you're a roofer, other people that are ultimately selling the same homeowner as you, maybe at a different time, that are going on site to these different houses that could essentially give you a lead in with that customer and facilitate an intro. Like if you're in tight with an HVAC company and the tech walks out and there's a shingle laying on the ground, like, hey, that's a sign that you should refer them to us, that we might be able to help them with a claim and get them a new roof. Okay, fantastic. But most of these guys don't know that. So like, it's the tedious and laborious shit that like a lot of contractors don't want to do, is like starting that relationship, growing it, educating that company on how they could potentially help them. But like at the boot camp, I've got an entire process laid out for referrals, how to make them more trackable, how to increase the likelihood that you're going to get more referrals on the partnership side and on the customer side. That's worked really well for contractors.
The partnership side. What does that look like? Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so that's what I was just talking about as far as like an HVAC contractor or another different contractor that's selling that same person something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
What should so speaking on the partners, let's go a little bit deeper here. Let's talk about the manufacturer a bit. What should the expectations for a manufacturer be to help you with advertising? Ooh. Because it's probably one of the greatest relationships that a contractor carries, because you know their whole cash flow can be dependent on what the manufacturer is able to produce. So, you know, can they ask for more from a manufacturer? I know on my end, as far as content, like I'll have a strategy that I'm, you know, going to be giving out game at for the boot camp that we're doing. By the way, if you guys just joined the roofing brand builder boot camp, we are giving away an exclusive 45% discount if you sign up while you're on this webinar. If you click the link on the top of the chat, there's a register link, and if you use the code Roofr, thank you so much, Roofr. If you use Roofr Thanks, you'll get 45% off just by attending this webinar. So we wanted to gift you guys something right from the rip as an appreciation for you being here. And we want to be able to take not just this information, but we want to be able to go deeper, get with you one-on-one, understand your issues, your problems, create a customizable strategy and giveaway game like what Mike is talking about. But so go ahead and click the link and make sure that you guys get locked in. It's going to be at Dallas, Aloft Lovefield.
Yep.
Aloft Lovefield, October 11th. Make sure you're there. You do not want to miss out on this. It is going to be one of the most pinnacle events that you are going to attend this year. Pivoting back though, talking about the relationship with the manufacturers, the most important relationship. What can you ask? How do you ask it? Right? What can you expect from them as far as advertising?
I want money. That's what I'd have. No, that's a statement I'd make. No, I think that you have to approach it from a place of tact. And, I think that you can create a situation where everyone's winning, right? So the manufacturers are going to benefit from you purchasing more squares of shingles from them, right? There's a direct correlation there.
Yeah.
You're going to do better revenue wise if you're purchasing more shingles, I hope, unless you're fucking up a ton of jobs, which I know nobody here is doing. And then the homeowner's going to win because you're going to tell the manufacturer. Now, the more homeowners that have the best product in the market on their home, the better off they are, right? Everybody wins. I think it's important. A lot of the times people just don't ask. And it's like, upload it to the portal. If you got something that you want to get comp for, upload it to the portal. We'll do what we can do. So like at the boot camp, we'll talk about some experiences that I've had in working with clients and manufacturers and process and how we've systematically and methodically have gone about that conversation to show value. At the end of the day, it's an investor, right? Like that portion of the manufacturer, it's like an investment arm. They're looking at, okay, we have X amount of budget and we're going to give it to who we think is best going to return those dollars based on what they're doing. So it's our job to prove to them that we're the right pony to bet on.
Is there any type of material that they should prepare for when they're going for that ask? Like, should they create like a deck and say like, hey, listen,
I think it starts with just a casual conversation. And it's like, maybe they do nothing, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Right.
Yeah.
But there's always a way like to position it in a favorable sense for your company. Oh, well, I'm a young company. Great. That means the lifetime value of you as a customer to that company is significantly more than somebody who's on their way out. So while they might be doing 30 million, you're doing 3 million, you're going to be doing 3 million in scaling over the next 25 years. They're going to be retiring. So it's understanding what makes you different, knowing your numbers. And I can't wait to talk more about that at the event.
Yeah. And Mike's going to be able to talk about how you can clean up your numbers. And
I had a customer that he had gotten $3,500 a year before. And after several meetings with the manufacturer, they doubled it if he did the same amount of revenue the following year. And if he doubled in size and based on the amount of shingles that he purchased, they were going to give him 40 grand.
It's almost like reverse sales repping yourself. Like, yeah, like
the Uno reverse.
Yeah. It's like you throw out the Uno card. Listen, I'll be your sales rep. I'll double my revenue if you can. You can give me a little.
But it makes sense. And if it's me, if I'm a manufacturer, right? I know a lot of people are just going to piss in the wind with my money and spend it on things advertising wise that may or may not work. So if we can drill in and lock in and show them like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is our cost per acquired lead, appointment, job, gross, not like all these amazing things. Like you're going to increase that confidence level that like, hey, we should, probably help them scale this thing.
And it's, I think it's really important for manufacturers because you see the manufacturer advertise to other people that are their quote unquote avatars, which are other roofers that are buyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are already business to business, but they don't have the infrastructure to put together the marketing plans, and that's on you to implement. So whoever you partner with or internally that you have built, you've already done a lot of the legwork within marketing and the strategies that they don't have the bandwidth to fulfill. And so if you have a strong marketing plan and you have a strong like system and process to where it's like, okay, this is what we actively do. These are the things in the numbers based off of, when you go to release an ad creative, right? Your return on investment, you can show that you have infrastructure for that. And that brings like a lot of trust and like a lot of reassurance, because if I'm a brand and I'm going to reinvest back into you because we're doing business together, yeah, I want to know that you have something in place to be able to fulfill this ask.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the more amount of time that you spend in your marketing with your marketing manager, with your marketing partners and agencies, like a lot of these agencies too will brainstorm. And I even go to you and because we utilize this end as well. And I say like, okay, hey, what can I do to think as far as video and content goes to fuel like my efforts in reverse?
Yeah.
Right. Because you're the one that sees like bottom line numbers. And then I'm able to see like, hey, here's what our close rate is based off of those leads that we got.
Sure.
I can pretty much like work with you hand in hand to build that structure to give to them.
Yeah.
So guys, make sure that you are commenting, like comment what you guys are currently doing right now in your marketing efforts. And a little bit of the infrastructure that you guys have that you would like more information on, as far as, what you can do to improve that. Keep dropping your websites in the chat. Keep commenting.
I'm going to start invoicing you for the hours that I spend after the fact doing this, just so you know. So keep it up.
I know. Tabs on me. Tabs on me.
I got 375 websites on it tonight.
Yeah.
Tabs
on me.
And yeah, Braden, Jennifer, Aaron, Maurice, Christine, Javen. Yep. Deanna. Appreciate you guys, and Maurice as well, dropping some stuff, and we'll get to it. I promise.
Right. That being said, talking about working with marketing agencies to refuel ideas and revenue driving activities.
Yeah.
What can SEO do? So as a creator who's been doing it for over a decade, I'm constantly looking to my marketing agencies and my marketing partners on what I can do directly with video, because video is the surefire way to communicate the strongest message and the easiest message to receive for their audience. So for you, what does SEO do that I can use and help with video?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I mean, there's no doubt about it that as it relates to web traffic, video can help immensely. Like if you Google something, look at the way that the search engine result page has evolved over the years. There's pretty much not anything that you're going to search where there's not like a little section carved out for like a carousel of videos, right?
That was new. Oh, that was new added though. That was new added to Google, where they started adding
it's going to
social.
It's going to consistently evolve.
Yeah.
So my point is that's one opportunity just by way of creating content, getting first page placement on Google. You think about, you release a piece of short form content and it gets 5,000, hits on it. Maybe 4,800 of those people are outside of your service area, or they're high school or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. They're not, but maybe 200 of them are somebody who's going to use you now, in the future, et cetera. Like your avatar, as you so eloquently stated. So like from the brand exposure, that could lead to web traffic now and in the future. With regards to what we do, we're writing a ton of content for customers. So think about it on a monthly basis. If you went through your blog content and you made a nice video summarizing what that blog content is about and embed that on that blog, that can help you. It definitely helps with the user experience, because some people, if there's let's say it's an asphalt shingle versus metal roofing system install, which one do you choose? Like, let's say that's the article and it's ranked on page 1 and there's a ton of people coming there. Not everyone's going to want to sit there and read a fucking 3,000 word document on which one. They'd much rather watch a video.
Yeah.
So shoot a couple videos a month relevant to the content that was put out, have your marketing company embed it, improve your user interface experience.
Well, plus if they, and this was a strategy that I even started using more and more. The more we talked about this specifically was taking the top performing blog articles, retranscribing them into video, and then placing it within the blog, so that even if there's already traffic going to your blog, you're going to watch the video, and Google's going to say, oh, this person stayed for an extra 5 minutes on this page. So when Wouldn't that be a great indicator of like for Google to push that even more?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a hack.
Oh, we're giving out hacks here.
Yeah, we're giving out free game. We got a lot more comments in the comment section, in the chat section.
Yeah, let's hop onto one of these websites. I feel bad making them.
Yeah, let's jump on one of these websites before we continue on. Guys, make sure that you're dropping all your questions.
Andy's Roofing. All right, so bang, we got give us a call. We got instant quote. We got 3 calls to action. I love this. You don't know the preferred method of conversion of that individual that's landing on your site today, in 10 minutes, tomorrow. Some people want to call. Some people want that instantaneous. And I feel like Amazon ruined us. If I go to order something and they tell me 7 to 10 days, I'm like, fuck that. I'm out. I don't do it.
Yeah.
I'll go without.
Why do I even buy Prime?
So having an instant quote to satiate that need for immediate gratification, absolutely love that. We got the form here as well. We're highlighting our partnerships. Love that. Quality roof installation. You deserve the best. Fully insured. Make them feel warm and fuzzy with the nice photo here. This is a nice website. We've got the reviews, the carousel kind of going through like this. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's some interaction.
We got some core values here. Hey, I know this guy. I've seen him at a conference before. What's up, Ethan, if you're watching? 5 steps to homeowner relief. Fantastic. You guys have a pain point. This is how we solve it. I love explicitly mentioning that. It's a clean design, intuitive. Let's see here. Our services, roof replacement, repair, washing. I see commercial down here. One thing that, like, and I'm not going to spend too much time. I'm not going to do a full audit, but one thing I'd recommend is for the services, I would probably parse out residential and commercial if you're offering commercial. And then similarly to, let's see, are these residential roofing or commercial? Let's see here. We talk about the materials. Let's see, roof replacement, quality roof installation, results worth the investment. We only provide those materials.
Guys, make sure you're writing down the things that Mike is talking about that you can implement, or even ask questions about, like, why is that so important, right? Why do I need to be doing this? Where should I be hosting this on my site as a priority?
I would probably break this out to residential and commercial, and the reason I say that is for the ease of use for the consumer. So if somebody's coming and they're looking for a TPO roof, you guys offer commercial, it might help if they can see, okay, commercial roofing, and then you've got the different roofs that you're installing. Or if they're just looking for it by service, okay, this is our commercial maintenance program. This is our commercial roof replacement. These are our spray foams, like whatever it is that you're doing that's relevant to that main heading of commercial roofing. That might help. But all in all, I'd say this website's very nice. Whoever did it did a very good job. All right, we got one out of the way. So now I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Or do you want to keep talking? You got more questions?
We can. Well, we're on this SEO. We're on the SEO website rip right now. Let's talk about Google data from pay-per-click or SEO to create and drive content. Like how do I look at the statistics to to know what I should pick, like for.
Well, you could, like, if you're just starting to create, like, let's say blog content or content for your website, you can use tools like Ahrefs. It's misleading. It's ahrefs.com, or SEMrush is another one. Some people like Moz. And what you could do is you can kind of anticipate search volume, shows you time of year, what's being searched, how frequently it's being searched, things like that. As far as data that you already have, so Google Analytics, Google Search Console, there's no shortage of things. Like, if you like data, log into there, and you can find, like, who's coming to the website, where are they coming from, how long are they staying, when are they leaving, how many pages are they interacting with. In Search Console, you can see pages that are indexed versus pages that aren't indexed. So when you create a website, you create a new page of content, it's on your website, but it's not necessarily on the Google search engine result page. Once it gets indexed, it's now showing up somewhere in the results, right? And ultimately, if it's not indexed, it really doesn't matter. So that's one thing I would check on, especially.
If it's not indexed, does that mean that something needs to be changed within the content, or does it need to be like resubmitted to Google?
It could be.
Okay.
For sure. I've seen a lot of people that are running exclusively AI content have a large percentage of their pages not indexed.
I mean, well, AI is only pulling from the resources that they have.
Yeah.
And a lot of those resources are consistent.
Yep.
So the differentiator of originality is not there as much. And so you'll find that it's almost like you remember in school they would talk about a lot about plagiarism.
Yeah.
It's almost like a different form of plagiarism because they're just pulling the same type of content the same way.
Yeah, and some platforms are better than others. I would always, if you're using AI, I'd recommend having manual oversight, editing, things like that. Yeah. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. Yeah. Other things in Google Search Console, especially if you're doing SEO, SEO takes time. It takes 6 months. It takes a year. It takes a year and a half. What market are you in? How saturated is it? But success leaves clues. So like as you're developing link profiles, backlinks, and you're deploying content on your website and other places, you can see, like, look at your impressions and see what you're getting impressions for. Like that's typically a good indicator that things are starting to pick up for your SEO. Like pages are getting indexed. You're getting new impressions for relevant keywords. You'll probably get some for non-relevant keywords too. That doesn't mean they're doing a bad job, but you can watch your impression shares climb, the number of keywords you're getting impressions for. And that's usually a pretty good indicator that things are heading in the right direction, because you don't start doing SEO day one and like, oh, I got leads 3 weeks later in most instances.
When do you decide when to cut a campaign? For you, so I know we had a situation to where you guys were reviewing a campaign and you guys were thinking about cutting it, but then you were talking to the client and the client was like, dude, we're having like the best season we've ever had with like pay-per-click.
Yeah.
Right. Can you talk about that?
Well, that comes back down to communication, right? Because and we weren't looking to cut it. It's like overhaul, make big modifications. Because if we're expecting on a campaign a $200 cost per acquired lead, and for the last 60 days we're at 347, right? We're almost 2x where we need to be. We're going to think, okay, there's something substantial needs to be done here, right? Whereas if I call that client and we have that conversation, it's like, dude, I mean, 80% of our leads have been replacements. It's going fantastically. Please don't change anything. Now the cost per acquired lead matters less, because the quality of lead and the conversion of that lead is ultimately like what we're here for at the end of the day is like, well, really bottom line, right? What are you guys making off this? But top line revenue generated from the leads is a really good start. So if you can generate more from leads that we're acquiring at $347 a piece, then 3 times as many leads at $200 a piece, it's an easy decision to make. But that doesn't happen in the absence of communication. And that's why communication is so important.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably like one of the most underutilized like sources for success, right? It's like almost like the too easy answer. Too easy. So speaking about communication, can you talk a little bit about the systems and processes? And we even have some comments in the chat section here about just various things of what's your average. Let's see, Jesse asked, what's the average cost to outsource a website refresh? Let's talk about communication and the systems and processes, so that when we're going to ask these questions, what are some of the things that they should be implementing that you think that contractors could improve upon? And we'll get more into Jesse's question here.
I'm not sure. Can you restate the question?
What are some of the systems and processes that you would suggest that a contractor can improve upon?
Probably all of them, in my experience.
Well, like dive into what that.
Yeah, so I think in working with a lot of contractors throughout the years, there's a few buckets that they'll usually fall into. So one, and it's usually the younger companies, they don't have systems and processes. They've got everything up here, and that's great until it's not, right? When you're trying to hire somebody, trying to explain to them what you expect of them, I don't fucking know. You tell them, right? And now you start having conversations, and then like the runway to cut down that learning curve and to get them acclimated to do a proficient job at what you're hiring them to do is substantially longer. Whereas if you have these things documented, if this happens, then we do this. If this happens, then we do this. Now it's somewhat plug and play, right? And you could categorize it from, let's say, marketing and advertising, or let's say financing, or like our builds or post build or insurance claims. Like this is how we
The
operate.
referral process afterwards.
Yeah, everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's a tall ask, especially when you're wearing 15 hats as a owner operator. But the sooner you do it, the happier it'll be long term. And then if they do have system and processes around that, usually it's not full and complete, or they're not great, right? So that's where revisiting these things on like every 30 days, every 60 days to kind of have your finger on the pulse, like as things change within your company, does this still work? Like a lot of times companies will grow, and then they'll get to the point where they've got a bunch of processes that were built for a $2.5 million company and they're doing 10 million. They just don't work anymore. Right. So that can be problematic. The other bucket is you could have the best systems and processes, but like if people aren't being held accountable and being managed to those systems and processes, it doesn't fucking matter. Because a lot of the times, if that's not happening, like we're expecting everyone we hire to do exactly as we say. And like, I love that. It's great. Let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
There has to be intervention and oversight, because if everyone knew exactly what they had to do, did it exactly what they had to do every single time, every player on your team, there's a good chance they might own their own company and probably wouldn't be working for you.
Yeah. What let's take a look at another one of these websites and do a quick audit here, because I don't want to get too, while we're doing this audit, guys, please be sure to drop your questions. We've talked about a bunch of different hot topics here, right? Go ahead and drop like any questions that you have about your systems and processes, any questions that you have about tech. I saw that we had a tech question a little bit earlier on. Christian, if you can kind of scroll up to the questions here, and we can inspect them. Like Christine asked, would love to know what successful people use for tech and supplementing, which, for the best way to scale, which we also have to kind of inspect a little bit of.
I mean, there's for tech, there's a ton of answers, right?
It's about what works.
Yeah.
It's not about.
Like if you're going out and hand measuring roofs, you should probably use like imaging from Roofr just to have them do a report for you. It's for whatever it's going to cost, it's substantially less than paying one of your employees, whatever you're going to pay them to go drive, use gas, resources, and time to go measure a roof. Things like Company Cam, where they consolidate all your photos, you can document photos, you can tag people in those photos, you can draw on those photos. Like that allows you to have clear and succinct communication with you, your team, your customer, your crews, right? Like change orders, things like that. Like very, 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 very simple. The instant estimator provided by Roofr. People are looking for a roof. You're running ads, get a quote in 30 seconds. Bang. Now you get them into the funnel. They start filling out information. Now you've got their information.
Well, that was on our first one that we looked at, right? Yeah. They had the Roofr instant estimator.
And that might have been, I didn't actually click into that. It could have been, Roofr. It could have been, I don't know.
Yeah,
but just having some sort of instant measurement software or instant quote software, I think is really big. We've seen great success with it.
And you know what I found is like different types of generations have a different adoption to technology.
Yeah.
Younger / I would even say like millennials / maybe even, before millennial are extremely, what was that? Gen Z to which you have to factor that like Gen Zs are thinking about buying homes now as first time home buyers. They are more adapted to technology and they don't necessarily always want the face-to-face interaction to be the first point of contact.
No.
So when you are able to integrate technology like that into your website, you're able to reach that audience that you didn't necessarily think about before because, maybe what you did at 5 years ago worked really well, but now you have to think, okay, this next generation is really comfortable with technology. They're really comfortable with instant roof quotes. They're really comfortable with like submitting a form and getting popping up a number and then talking to somebody, right? So I think that's important that as we look at these websites, we audit some of the things that are missing that they could add into that too. We got who do we got here?
We got Tiger Roofing. When I land here, I like the video very much. like the little tiger here. Call now, get instant estimate. Again, multiple calls to action. Love that. Let's see. Scroll down. We've got our trust badges here. Your trusted contractor in McDonough, Georgia. More contact information. Work with us. I would definitely change the color of this font. I mean, it's very hard to read gray on gray. So I would definitely have your team take a look at that.
Can I tell you something that I noticed just from a user, not necessarily a website guy?
What's that?
I didn't see any faces when I first started. I mean, we see the video in the background, but I haven't seen any faces so far.
I'm okay with no faces. So there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. Some people I want a family, I want this and that, and it's like, okay, depending on what you like. Yeah. Now offering emergency tarp service. I think overall there's a lot of good things happening here, but I do feel it leaves a bit to be desired on like the design component side as I scroll through here. I like this. This brings a little bit of color to life. Like when you have black, orange, and white as your colors, there's a lot of opportunity to make like cool shit pop. And I see some of it, but I'd like to see more of it.
Like through the orange accents.
Yeah, different design concepts and things like that. Contact us today, another call to action. Fantastic. More areas we serve. So we've got our service area pages. Let's go into Henry County. Depend on a proficient roofing contractor in Henry County. Fortify your home with a durable roof. We got strong content here. That's really good. And I would keep adding to that. If these are all the areas that you service, fantastic. If there's more, consistently add to those. Services.
Do they have like a bunch of sub areas, like sub communities?
Yeah, they might, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. As I go down here and I see Realtors Corner, that's probably something I want to feature, not get buried down in the services. I'd want to break that out to a section of its own where it's more obvious. If I'm going to try to recruit realtors to refer me business.
Like on the headline up there?
Yeah. Just somewhere more obvious, because odds are if somebody's coming to services, they're not looking for something. It's just not intuitive.
Yeah. Or if you are a real estate.
And I want to see your faces. This is where I want to see faces. Where like who we are. Who are we?
Give me a
headshot. Give me a headshot. Give me a bio. Give me something. Like if I get to this page, I want to meet somebody. I'm considering bringing you out to my home. I've got my kids there. I got my wife there. Like I got my dogs there. Like I'm trying to build that rapport. And this, the likelihood that I actualize the feeling of comfortability that I want by coming to like a meet the team page or an about us page, I don't feel like this does a good enough job. I think there's an opportunity for improvement here. Okay. But overall, pretty good. Thanks for submitting it, Tiger. Bang. All right, what do we got next?
We got it. Can we scroll down to more questions?
Yeah, hold on one second. Love to know successful tech.
Guys,
what's some of the best content to make for shorts? People want to know. Maurice is asking.
For shorts, there is so with video in general, I have a rule, and actually, if you can go ahead and pull up the trust triangle on the screen, Christian, on the one to the right. So my theory is when you're looking at video, there's a trust triangle that, this is not a pyramid scheme, but a trust triangle.
Is it an isosceles triangle?
Yeah. So within your video, you need to be asking these 3 questions of the trust triangle to get people to trust you.
Okay.
1, is this authentically me? Right? First thing, authenticity, right? People want to see that you're not trying to sell them something. They want to see the true organic nature of yourself. And so a lot of that comes with imperfections. Do we have it pulled up? There you go, guys. So this is what I like to call the trust triangle. And basically, you screenshot this, guys, steal this, make sure that you're utilizing the trust triangle. But this is something that is used within long form content, short form content. Every single time I go to evaluate a video, I implement the trust triangle. I say, in this video was I my most true and organic self, which you'll see a lot of videos where I'll upload where I mess things up, all right, or where something was difficult for me, or where I, said, hey, this shouldn't be like this because XYZ, do this instead, right? This was an organic thing that I wasn't trying to sell anybody on. So it was my true authentic self. Next, what you want to do is you want to apply logic. So the second part of the trust triangle is logic, right? Did I help my audience get from A to Z within 30 seconds, right? Did they get the information that they wanted to get packaged very quickly, very shortly? And did you, maybe it's a 3-step process. Maybe it's one singular thing that someone needs to do to ensure that they are going to ask when qualifying a roofer, right? So logic helps people get from A to Z, right? And then last but not least, empathy. Did you really understand the audience member, or are you just speaking roofinese, right? The biggest, and one of our, so I have a group called the Creators Den, and we were watching this video because we do the boiler room where we take the videos and we inspect them. And within that, there was a video where somebody was talking about sheathing, right? And they're just ripping it, and they're like, this is why we use synthetic, right? But that video, they wanted a homeowner to see, but they talked directly to a roofer, right? Only things that roofers would understand.
Yeah.
They used language that only roofers would understand. They didn't understand their audience to the fullest extent of like, what's your problem? Well, my problem is that I'm not thinking about the underlayment. My problem is that I have 3 kids that I have to run to soccer practice. I have a leaky ceiling going through my newborns. Like,
that's tough.
You know what I mean?
Tough.
Right? So like, were you able to empathize? Were you able to show them A through Z through logic, right? Of the things, the actionable steps that they were able to take? And were you able to be your true organic self, not trying to sell them anything, but just give free game? And great here for this webinar, right? The trust triangle is like, we're our true organic selves within this, so this applies to the best way to create short form content and any content in general.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that. I mean, if you go to my YouTube, I think it's at Ascend Digital Agency, at Ascend Digital, whatever.
He thinks.
Yeah, at Ascend Digital. Just Google Ascend Digital Agency YouTube and you'll find it. I think we have like 1,300 videos, and literally I have a notepad in my iPhone, right? Notes, iOS notes. And I just, as I'm talking to clients, I'm talking to prospective clients, I'm talking to other contractors, when things come up that they're struggling with as it relates to anything that could be tied in, whether it's a causal correlation, or like somewhat indirect or very direct relationship, I document that, and like I make content if I know the answer to it to help resolve that issue and try to present. So like lead with value, in a way where it's a resource. It's a true resource. Like I know this is a problem because I know a roofer just told me it's a problem. And if he's the one that's telling me it's a problem, it's probably not the only roofer with this problem. It's the same thing with, like, for me, when I instruct clients as far as creating content, what are your homeowners telling you? What questions are they asking you? When you're trying to sell them shit, what are they telling you? Like, what objections are your salespeople getting? Like, tap into your team and like at your weekly meetings, get the feedback from them as far as like, hey, what are we being met with as far as like opposition when we're trying to sell people? Is it warranty issues? Is it cost? Is it this? Is it that? Now you can use that as your baseline of like, hey, we're going to create content this week, and these are the topics that we're going to use.
One of my favorite things for short form videos is doing just, and this is completely underutilized by any sort of roofers, but creators have been using it forever, which is day in the life videos. If you're doing a day in the life of an Atlanta, Georgia roofing company, and you go through the step-by-step of everything that happened that day. I met with a homeowner that this was their problem. This is how we solved it. This is the things, the actionable steps that we took. And then just like taking it can be as simple as just taking, for short form videos, just taking phone videos and getting clips throughout the day and just splicing those together and just telling a story, right? You're able to pull out the problems, and then a homeowner that's watching that can go, oh, like that's basically me. like that person kind of looks like me, that person kind of has the same home as me, that person has the same problems as me, and all you're doing is telling a story of what you're already doing. The biggest problems that roofers have is that, or anyone in general that is doing a high amount of client work, is that it's already happening. Right. Anything that you could ever do is already happening. You don't have to figment stuff like a lot of other people that try to think what their audience is going through. You're actually doing it on a day-to-day basis. So document that, get a shot list. I have a shot list here that I'll show you guys a little bit later into this, but we're going to be spitting free game the rest of this. And on top of that, we're going to have an event called the Roofing Brand Builder Boot Camp in Dallas at the A Loft. So make sure that if you're left field, that's
8 a.m. Get out, you live it.
Sharp. We're hitting the boot camp. Listen, if you're on this webinar, we are giving you.
I've got my composition notebook. School's in session.
School's in session. We are giving a 45% off, just as a thank you. We're practically giving it away for free. Dallas is a main flight, so if you're not even in Dallas, you can just take a one-day flight out.
If it takes you a day to get there, it's a problem.
Yeah. Come meet us in person, meet with Roofr, and ask the questions that need to be answered so that you can maximize the height of your season. So make sure to click that link and register.
Also,
today.
If you book this link, you come to Dallas and you come to meet us and you listen to it. I will personally, if you don't find value in it, I'm going to interview you on camera, and that'll help you start creating content.
Yeah,
you're going to tell me like why you were disappointed, and then I'll give you your money back. I'll make a personal guarantee. So
I'll double on that. I'm going to have a setup at the Roofing Brand Building Conference. It's a conference now.
It's not a conference. It's not a boot camp. It's a conference.
So I'm going to have an entire setup with Elgato that you're going to be able to create content, and we can shoot some of the content that you want to shoot there. There's going to be a whole setup. And you're going to have everything A to Z and get personal one-on-one coaching, as well as a game plan to walk away with.
That dovetails nicely into my next question. So there's no shortage of people that understand the value of creating video. Everyone that I talk to knows that it's important, and the vast majority of them don't do it. If I'm a roofer and I know it's important and I just can't work up the gumption to do it. And it's crazy because you got some really charismatic men and women out there, and that you have a conversation with them and they're fucking sharp. But then that camera goes on and it's like, ugh, which by the way happened to me too. And I think I still suck at content, but every day I'm trying to improve. Right. So what can they do to get past the point of like, I got to shoot content to, okay, I shot content today.
I think for me, just working with creators and contractors as well, like the blockers are always there when you first start. So when you see like an NFL athlete at content, right, they started somewhere. They started being really imperfect. Actually, funny enough, so there's, if you want to scroll down here real quick, on the notes section there, so I was at this conference, right, for Gary
Not
V's
a boot camp.
VCon. Yeah, I was at VCon. This is a great example of this. I was at VCon and I was shooting content for Sheila Lazar, Drew Barrymore, and I was in the artist kind of like, there's like a little kind of separate suite where they can like get drinks and hang out.
Okay.
And if you're familiar with like suites, there's like a glass door to go out and have some seating, some exclusive seating, and then come back. There's like a two-portion section. I remember I was looking for my team member, and she was out in the conference section. I was going to go run out and yell to her, and I'm in this room, and there's like 15 people in this room, very intimate room. I go to turn and like run out this thing, and I just plaster my face right onto the glass. I just plaster my face right onto the glass. Very intimate room. I look to my left. I see somebody like whips over and looks over, and just out of the embarrassment, I just like run out. I was like, oh, that was great. I mean, everybody in Gary V saw that. And I was like embarrassed. And I took a deep breath and I went back inside. After I found her, I went back inside. And I saw the figure that had had saw me run my face straight into this glass window. And I took a deep breath, and I turned to him and I said, "Hi, I'm John, the guy who just plastered his face on the glass wall." And he was like, "Oh, I thought that was you. You all right? My name's Neil." It was Neil Patrick Harris that saw me just plaster my face right in front of a room full of people. But because I owned that moment, I was able to have a great conversation with him. And I think the biggest thing is a lot of times we get stuck because we get stuck in our insufficiencies, when our insufficiencies are the things that connect people. Like, nobody wants to see a perfect person constantly doing perfect things. And it's almost the pinnacle thing that makes you relatable. So if you can look at your content and you can accept the fact that you're not going to be perfect when you do it, but you can do certain techniques and you can turn on the camera every single day, you're going to get 1% better every day. That's all you need to ask for yourself. It's like, okay, did I turn the camera on today? You know, did I do a script? Did I prepare myself for like my talking points? Did I get the shot list that I needed to? Right. And then everything else can kind of fall into place when you put those tools and resources in place. But in the midst of preparation, don't forget that it's okay to show when things don't work out. One of the most viral videos that happened recently was this guy was selling real estate, and his Gen Z editor just edited a bunch of him like breathing like, and that was the whole video, was him just like his tics.
Yeah.
Right. The reason why that virality happened and that awareness happened of him and his business was because he was able to show a layer of himself that people were able to relate to, doing video for the first time or even just multiple times and showing his weaknesses.
Right.
If you can show that within your content, you're going to be so much further and you're going to be so much relatable. You're going to hit that authenticity right on the head when it comes to the trust triangle. And you're going to be able to produce content that you're not limited to with your own thoughts. You're going to be able to think of how you can do things more strategically and how you can be your true organic self, because your true organic self is the thing that sells.
Let me ask you this. And those are all really good points. So assuming I get to the point where I'm like, all right, fuck it, let it ride. We're gonna shoot some content.
Let it rip, bear.
What's one rookie mistake, amateur hour shit that people make that you would advise the folks in this audience to not make when it comes to creating content?
Don't waste your first 3 seconds on introducing yourself.
Hi, I'm Mike with a send.
Well, and you know where that came from, though, is like people watch influencers and they watch people of fame do that. And so when you introduce yourself, yeah, I have a whole media distribution team that's pushing my name. So when you introduce your name, yeah, people know who Drew Barrymore is. People know who Neil Patrick Harris is. People know who Gary Vee is. People know who Mike from Ascend Digital Agency is.
Oh, shit.
But like, don't waste your first 3 seconds. And even more so, the biggest rookie mistake I see people wasting within that first 3 seconds is they don't address the problem immediately. The more that you can address the problem that somebody is facing, you're instantly making yourself more and more credible. You don't have to say, I've been in business for 10 plus years, serving a bazillion communities with philanthropy. If I'm able to look at you and I'm able to say you have XYZ problems consistently, and I'm able to tell you your problems consistently, it's the therapist method. Have you ever been to therapy before?
Oh, yeah.
So when you are going to talk to your therapist or interview a therapist for the first time, right? And if they were to tell you every single thing that you're dealing with, wouldn't you be like, wow, this is the right person to talk to? Because they know exactly the empathy part of the triangle is completely checked off, right? You are now the therapist. And so if you can diagnose the problems of your homeowner quickly, efficiently, and stick in that pocket for as long as possible, you're going to be able to turn over your videos and make your videos 10 times more relatable.
Yeah, I like that. That's really smart. but how long is it going to take me to get better? Let's assume shoot the first one. It's okay. It's not a dumpster fire, but it's not far from it. What is the trajectory of me becoming just entirely adept and very, very good on camera, where I'm not using a ton of filler words like, where I feel comfortable, I'm not noticeably uncomfortable? What does that timeline look like for somebody who just started shooting content?
2 things. The next video is the timeline. So it's always the next video. It's never this video that you're like, I am the master now. Because even me, I've been doing this for 14 years. I still think my next video is going to be my best video. Right? So it's always the next video. And then 2, if you can evaluate yourself in those beginning phases, this was a strategy that I think his name is Vin Giag. He's a public speaker. And he said, if you can shoot a video, and I even recommend people do this, shoot a video and then rewatch that video, turn the audio off, and just see how you are presenting yourself. If you like your posture, great. If you're smiley, great. Maybe you don't like it because you're a little bit slunched over, you're not making hand gestures, you're a very static image. You can physically see that without listening to the audio.
I love this, by the way.
And then second, what you do is you rewatch the video and you listen to it, just the audio. Think of how you can get rid of those identify what your word fillers are. You can say right. You can say, you can say, you can say,
like,
you can say
like is the most, I think the most frequent culprit
is the most frequent. But the only way that you get better at word fillers is just pausing, because it gives not just yourself a chance to gather the next sentence, but it gives your audience the chance to digest everything that you said. So when you're doing your videos, if you can review them, look at the video first, and then turn the camera upside down and then listen to the audio, write it out. Like, it's like every time you watch your video, you're watching the gameplay, you're watching game footage, right? You're watching game footage from like the previous game of how to get better.
Yeah.
Right. At the sport. So I would say those 2 things is your next video is going to be your greatest video. And 2, if you continuously do this practice, you'll not just end up a better video person or a better content creator, but you'll ultimately end up being a better communicator. End up being a better leader, right? Of your thoughts, of the things, of the way that you want to inspire people. So
if I notice that I'm getting a lot of rights, likes, do I hire somebody like an editor, or even if I have an editor or somebody freelance, do I hire them to take all those out?
You can. You can absolutely, cut out every single word filler that you have. That's the beauty of editing, is there's not a single video that you've ever watched that wasn't imperfect in the raw footage.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you recommend doing that though?
Enough. It's like sprinkles on a cake, right? Too many sprinkles on a cake, and then it's just
don't you start fucking talking about cake. I'm starving. All right.
Then it's just
I love cake.
Then it's just Sprinkle City, and you know it's not the cake.
I think there's a semblance of I feel as if you talked about being your organic self and being natural in the approach. I don't think that I'd want every one of them taken out.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. My personal preference is I love the most worst things to be shown about me, because at least what my worst is, and it's probably not even that bad.
Yeah.
Right.
That's dope.
Right. Guys, drop your questions that you have about content in the chat section below.
Let's do another little website
audit
here. We've got people patiently waiting. Hopefully they're still on. Let's see. BFAR contracting. When I land here, I love this. Front and center, A+, Better Business Bureau, Master Elite, Preferred Contractor. We got our phone number. Got a call to action here with the form. Let's show the full face. Let's move building relationships down so that your face isn't cut off. I think that would be wise to do. And if we want to get this gentleman in the photo, maybe you guys are partners. I'm not sure of the dynamic, but if it's important for both of you to be here.
I didn't even see that, dude.
Yeah. So maybe we get a zoomed out photo and then just slide that over a little bit. Now it's both of you, right?
Yeah.
To where, because I don't want to get rid of the form. I want It's not this or that, it's this and that, right?
Yep.
There it is, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, so reputation, workmanship, lifelong customers, our philosophy. I love the building relationships tagline too. I think that's super important. And I think that would speak to somebody that's considering hiring a contractor. I'm a fan of that. One thing that I notice here, yeah, okay, so here's the reviews. The majority of people aren't going to get to the bottom of the homepage. So I want to, maybe if you're using a plugin for this, maybe make it obvious. You've got, this kind of blends in with the background picture with the overlay that you have. So I'd want that to be less subtle and more obvious. And I'd certainly want to move that up. It's one of the first things, maybe a break in here, or maybe right under philosophy. I want people talking about our company in a positive light to be very prominently positioned on the website. So that's a recommendation I'd make on this one. We got the instant estimates. Absolutely love that. Let's go to areas we serve, see if we've got individual pages. So we've got a ton of different areas. I'm assuming that the ones that are highlighted are the only ones that have individual pages of content. I would say let's consistently make more content for these other service area places, because if you've got these smaller suburban areas or towns, it's very plausible that if you create some good content specific to that area, that you could rank organically without doing like extensive SEO on it. So I think that might be an opportunity as well. It's an SEO tidbit, but you're welcome. But all in all, this is it's a well-designed website. I don't hate this one. This is good. Let's see. What do we got next? Omnia.
Let's do another one. Yeah. There we go.
I'm one step ahead of you, sir.
I know. He's on it.
Omnia, 8 to 5. You're only open 8 to 5. What happens if somebody calls you at 7:50 or 7 p.m.? That's something that we're going to talk about at the Roofing Brand Builder Bootcamp too. I would hope after hours you have an answering service or something, a very well scripted, well rehearsed answering service that's going to provide that same experience that you want from your team to your customers after hours. Home portfolios.
If you do, right. If you have an answering service outside of those times in the chat,
yeah, let us know. And if you do have an answering service, do you have them for overflow too? So if it rings more than 3 times, so that whoever's answering the phone isn't rushing off with the customer if they're on a call, let us know if you're doing that too. The next generation of roofing. I like that. This has like a mystique to it. It's a little dark though for me when I land. I would want something a little brighter, maybe a little more vibrant. View our recent projects. Oh, what is this? What do we got going on here? Love that. I would maybe, instead of doing a mobile, like do a desktop layout of this where the service area is across.
Massive. Yeah,
it's big and you could see the pins. This is nice. I do like this. I think it might be an opportunity for improvement if we could get this embed right on the homepage, which I'm quite sure that you can. So I think, as opposed to, because the more clicks it takes to get somewhere, the less likely we are to get there. So if we got to go to a different page versus it just being right here on the homepage, scrap the first idea. Just put that iframe right here on the homepage.
Whose is this?
This is
who dropped that?
Omni Roofing. What? I'm not sure. Christian, who dropped Omni Roofing? Give me 1 second. My ADD is kicking in here. I want to see trust badges sooner than later. Aaron, let's get some trust badges, even if we put them somewhere up here. Let's develop trust. People don't trust you as a roofer.
Oh, there's the 5 stars that are there that were on the bottom too.
Right here?
That was the previous one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, we got the reviews down here. These two, I would probably want to make them a little bigger. Because you're kind of pulling attention to this, recent projects. I would make this a little more obvious. Maybe make it bigger, make it wider, where it's maybe 4 different individual reviews. Free estimate. That's okay. Lifetime warranty, residential, commercial, repair. I would maybe give a link to the repair page, the commercial page, residential page, if you have one, and maybe talk more about the services as well. So there's not much here on the homepage. So maybe elaborate on what's going on within the website, give little snippets, and then link that to internal pages on the website. I would want, there's no services pages, right? So residential, commercial, we do repair, replacement, roof storm damage. We do have a financing page, but the most important aspect of this is people and Google, right? People in Google, people trying to buy your stuff and people coming to Google looking for stuff, find information about what it is that you're trying to sell them, right? So if it's a roof repair, it's a replacement, it's a storm damage inspection, we've got to create pages of content that are relevant to what people are searching to give us any type of likelihood of being found. So I would say catalog all the different services you offer, categorize them by residential, commercial, and then build out service pages around those. Yeah.
Right on.
That would be my recommendation for Aaron with Omni Roofing. Thanks for submitting, Aaron. Let's see. Kangaroo Roof, we hop to it. 20K guarantee services. Let's see here.
Wait, is that what it says underneath? We hop to it?
Yeah, we hop to it. Repair, installation, residential, commercial. Let's see. Click into here.
I like the branding.
Mm-hmm. So I click into commercial roofing. I come here. And this is an opportunity. Again, commercial roofing. What kind of roofs are you installing? What kind of services do you offer on the commercial side? Are you just doing and what is commercial to you? Like some people, when they say commercial, they're only talking about like multifamily apartments, things like that. Some people are talking about, flat roofs, TPO, EPDM, mod bit, etc. So give some context and make it obvious, and then make pages of content for all those different things. Additional roofing service, residential roof repair. So I would go with a main page, like a parent-child sub-page structure where it's like residential roofing, it drops down, and now these are all the different services we offer within residential roofing. Same thing with commercial. I know I sound like a broken record.
Kind of like a manual.
But this stuff, yeah, it's like an index to a car, owner's manual, yeah. And we'll talk about that more in Dallas. Let's see here. Get an estimate. There's a phone number here. Reliable Roofing Services. Get an estimate again. All right, we got a video here. A little intro. Love that. Bang, bang. All right, well done. Don't let a damaged roof compromise your home safety. Don't see trust badges or reviews off rip. We need to hop to that. Who submitted this, Christian? We've got our Maurice. Let's make sure that we get, somewhere in this area, we get your reviews and we get manufacturer badges, partnerships, financing, things like that are going to help build credibility.
Does color scheme matter as much?
Color schemes matter, but we're not going to get too much into that right now. We're just going to do some painfully obvious stuff here. We have to love the picture. It's a warm and fuzzy feeling, right? I'm assuming Maurice is who we're going to be working with. Fantastic. We got our different steps of the process. I think it's important to set expectations. I would say we could do more as far as giving them information around each one of these steps of the process.
Almost each one of those can be a video.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing. Yeah, that would be great. Roofing exteriors.
Most people have their videos. They just don't know yet.
Here's the reviews way down at the bottom where most people aren't going to go on their journey. So good job getting them there. Let's just move them up. Latest projects, get an estimate, latest videos. Okay. There you go. Love that. Love that. Nice. Might want to move those up too a little bit. I don't know. Move everything up. Latest news. We got our blogs. There's the trust badges. Maurice. Come on. Move them up. All in all, it's a good site. Yeah, I think a couple opportunities for improvement, but that's what it's about, right? Getting better day over day, every day. All right, what else do we got here? This is that. I got to find my way back to the webinar tab, camera.
Just got really meta.
Really meta.
Screen inside of screen.
All right, so let's see this one here. It looks like we do but don't have overflow. Aaron, get some overflow. One thing that I don't want to happen is if somebody's calling, and like I said, I've got an admin that's answering the phone. They're talking to a customer. I don't want, let's call her Becky. I don't want Becky to rush that customer off the phone for fear of missing out on getting a new customer, right? I also don't want that new customer's first experience with us to be a phone call not answered. And I've had people argue with me, well, my business is referral and they'll wait for me. If that's the case, that's fine. But if you plan on growing your company, you don't want, especially when you're paying for leads, whether you're paying for leads directly or you're doing SEO or Google Ads or local services, you definitely don't want that first call to be going to voicemail.
Even if it is referral, though, I mean, that's just part of, even if I'm a referral, I love the fact of like instant connection like that.
Yes, but it's just less egregious if it's referral because they are more apt to wait for you. If somebody's Googling Roofr near me, they click to call you, they get a voicemail. 15 minutes later, you call them back. There's a really good chance they called, whether they want 1 estimate, 5 estimates, there's a good chance they've already talked to the next 1, 2, 3, 5 people, have their need met. Like in their mind, their problem is I need estimates. Once they get that number of estimates that they want, they're done, right? So you call them back, like, oh, we're all good. We're taken care of. All because we didn't get a live party contact. So let's make sure that, the overflow, it's easy to implement. After X amount of rings, you're gonna get patched over to this answering service.
Yep.
All right, sweet. Hopefully this is helping you guys. Let us know if any of this is helpful. Drop it in the comments and mash that RSVP button. All right, topfloridaroofing.co. And we had this submitted by Xavier, Mr. Miranda. Let's take a look here. Services. Oh, you got the little mouse dot thing. Residential and commercial. Okay, I think that we should have residential and commercial right here in the heading. And again, the services within those drop down with an individual page of content for each. Top Florida Roofing Company, last contract your home will ever need. I love this video. It's a very nice video. We got the Google guaranteed service provider. Love that. Let's add some more here though, right? Maybe we could get 4 or 5 of these, make it symmetrical. But 4 or 5 of these manufacturers that you're working with, finance companies, relationships that you have. Let's get more in here. We've got our reviews right at the top. Love that. Fantastic. South Florida Roofing Contractor.
Do you is there anything that they can do with like backlinking with some of these partners?
Yeah, but, I mean, if you wanted to ask that question, I'd have to tell you to come to Texas.
Yeah. So there are some things that they
could implement. Be. Yeah. It's not a surefire thing, but there's opportunities. Our services, residential roofing, flat. I like overall. I like the design of the site. I like the look and feel of it as I'm scrolling through. We got flat, tile, metal. Let's see here. Commercial, mod bit. Do these click to a page? Explore more. There we go. Reliable best commercial contractors. So my question would be, do these all just go to the commercial page? They all go to just the one commercial page. Break these out. Make each one of their own page in your sitemap under commercial roofing, and then make them a sub page up here. So you hover over commercial roofing, and it breaks out to materials and services. You list all the materials: built up roofing, mod bit, single ply membrane, and then you list out the different, list out the materials and then the services: installation, repair, maintenance program, etc. Impact doors and windows. All right. This is good. I like this. I do like this. Gutters, additions. There's a lot here. Timely projection. So this is an interesting way to state your difference, right? We got the little we'll call this a circle of trust.
Circle of trust.
Yeah, you got the triangle trust. We got circle of trust. Yeah. There's some more of those manufacturers we use. Fantastic. Work some of these up into that hero image where you first land on the website, where you got the local services. I think it would be wise to do that. We've got some FAQs. Okay.
Tons of videos in those FAQs.
Yeah. Job well done. I don't see any, I don't see the Roofr instant quote on here. So that's obviously an opportunity for improvement. Outside of that, yeah, looks good.
Wait, which makes me wonder why. Right in the comment section, why you don't have the Roofr instant quote.
Ooh, let them know. Yeah. This has been great, honestly. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, no, Aaron. I mean, honestly, drop a comment on and let Roofr know that you're trying to get that instant quote up on your site.
No, that's Xavier. Xavier needs the instant quote. Aaron was telling us that this has been great, so I was just expressing my gratitude.
Oh, he said it only went live 3 weeks ago. It's a lot of work. A lot of work in 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, most of the work's done before, and then you just launch it.
Yeah,
solutions, not excuses. Core value number 2 at Ascend. We're not gonna make excuses for the marketing agency. Tell them to be better. No,
he's got his questions that he's got a whole list of things that he can come to with his marketing agency.
Let's see.
How much does a refresh cost?
I mean, that depends. Yeah, what's a website cost? I don't know. What's a roof cost?
Anywhere from
How
20 to $150,000.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, you could roof my dog. You could roof
got.
my dog house for like $600. You know, it's a 600 square building. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a really hard question to answer depending on what the scope of work is and how you're building it, who you're asking, how transparent they are. Are you going to own the website? Are you not? Are you going to own the website, but on a proprietary content management system that will be all but useless once you leave that company? Come to the boot camp.
So what's the first biggest step to get to
price?
Doing an audit? Yeah. Because obviously price matters.
Yeah, of course. So for me, it's one of the things that's going to drive up cost the most is going to be, is it a custom site or is it a theme site? So a theme, like if you're in the Northeast, you got Ryan Homes, you got these homes that are kind of pre-built and they're going to be plopped down, and your house is going to be the same as your neighbor's house and the same as your neighbor's house, which is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with, if that's the home that you want to live in, fantastic. But you have that expectation, right? You know, going in that your house is the same layout as your neighbor, and your wife's not going to get that, custom kitchen that she wants, or the master suite with the ensuite laundry in between, whatever. And if you're okay with that, great. You know what you're getting what you want. But if you're moving into that type of house and you want a custom house, well, you're going to be pissed off, right?
Yeah.
So if you're building a custom site, you're kind of building it out from scratch. It takes a lot longer. You have much more latitude from a design perspective, so it's going to cost a lot more money. So you can get sites for a couple $1,000s. You can get sites for $40,000. You can get them for everything in between. I would say just do your research, vet the company that you're working with. Make sure that, one, you want to work with them. You might get on a call with that person like, fuck that guy. I don't ever want to work with Mike again. Block. I don't want to talk to him. Stay away. Or you might really resonate with somebody, but don't leave it there, right? Do your due diligence to make sure that you're working with somebody who's, because a lot of the times in these relationships, the person you leave isn't the person that came into your life when it started. Right? There's a distinct difference between that person from point A to point B. So a lot of people will tell you whatever you want to hear just to take your money. Yeah. I've learned that the hard way.
So decide what you want first.
Decide what you want. And if I'm a younger company and I'm doing $500,000, I'm probably going to say, hey, Mike, can you send me one of the website you've done? I'm going to look at how this company structured their website, and I'm probably going to structure my website pretty similarly to that.
And then when you get to different,
and you could do that in Wix, you could do it in Squarespace, you could you go on Fiverr, whatever you want to do, right? Go run lean, be efficient. But this will provide you with a really good starting point so that when you do transition, even if you buy a themed website down the road, there's already a much stronger foundation, right? So that's my 2 cents.
That's good.
All right. So we've got, I think this is the last one, consciousexteriors.com. All right. Start for free. I would upgrade to the paid version if this is not. I'm guessing it's not. That's why that's a banner there. I don't think it should be too much with GoDaddy. I think it's relatively inexpensive. Eco-conscious exteriors that love. And
GoDaddy is great.
Love the planet. Subscribe. All right. So this is
We got some work to do.
We've got some work to do. We've got a very nice starting point. We got a place to start, place to send people. There's just a lot that we need to do now that we get here. Let's see here. God. Christine. Yep. She said I also need someone to help me with my website. Okay. Christine, shoot me a DM on Facebook. And I'll schedule a call.
Yeah, but in addition to that, take the notes that you have looked at from a bunch of these other websites that we've done audits on, and exactly with what Mike was saying, like know exactly, maybe not exactly to the T what you want, but like get a good foundation for what you're looking for. Because there's a lot of room for improvement, so that now you have the questions, now you have the visuals and the different things that you've seen at the highest levels, as well as the things that need improvement.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for everyone that joined. And on that note, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm starving and this light is super hot. I mean, I'm sweating like a rotisserie pig right now. But yeah, feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Make sure you get that link and RSVP before you leave, though. 45% off. That's a grand gesture. Thanks, Mao. Mao put it out right there. Click that. Mash that link. Incredibly grateful for everyone. Grateful for you, John. I'm grateful for Roofr. I'm just having a moment of gratitude.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good. A lot of good things to be grateful for.
Be grateful,
especially this 45% off discount. No, but like at the end of the day, you know, this was like free game for you guys. Follow us on social media. If you can cut to this, guys, make sure we're constantly giving out game on social media for free. You can find me on Instagram, Manager John, Facebook, Jonathan Cater. You know, I'm constantly uploading videos of how and giving you guys gear that you can buy and that you can utilize, as well as strategies and the things that we're implementing with the people that we're working with already at the highest levels, and both entry and the highest levels. So make sure that you follow Take Off with Ascend, as well as Mike Stearns on Instagram and Facebook, as well as TikTok. He's blowing up on TikTok, especially. He's interviewing people at the highest levels that he started in with that weren't always there and been through the growth process. And he is giving away all that information for free on his podcast. So make sure that you watch that, tune in on social medias, and make sure that you guys are utilizing this link, because once we cut the webinar, the offer cuts, and you're going to be missing out on some of the best face-to-face time that you're going to get, where we're going to be able to dive directly into your business, and you're going to be able to walk away with strategies that you can implement the next day, right? That is invaluable, to be able to have a direction and a coach that can take you from point A to point B directly for you, not just some paper, you know, just blanket statement thing that you can apply, but looking at your position, auditing where you're at right now, telling you the next steps to go. So with that being said, I'm Manager John.
You want to know, before we go, you want to know one person you don't want to live with?
Regret,
baby. Don't regret.
Wow, we're synced up.
No, again, thank you, dude. Appreciate everyone that joined today. Thank you to Roofr, and I'm fucking pumped for this event. And yeah, I dropped my YouTube link in the comments as well. Get your ticket. Follow me there. I've got like 1,500 videos or something crazy where we talk about this stuff all the time. But yeah, we're grateful, and we're gone.
That's a wrap.